PowerView Networks.
Now, the champagne was on ice, but Zach Gallen was ice. Zach Gallen was throwing a no-hitter, and you thought, at least I did, maybe we were watching a little bit more World Series history. That a guy was, there's been 2 no-hitters in the history of the World Series. One of them was last year. You thought maybe you were watching a little history. And in fact, you were, because the Texas Rangers won their first ever World Series championship last night, beating the Diamondbacks 5-0 and winning the series 4-1. Good Thursday morning to you. What's up, boys and girls? Opening drive, Jefferson Bieta, JJ Buck, and DC. How you living?
What it do?
What are you doing? You got good night for you?
Not too bad.
A lot going on last night, huh? How you doing back there? So did you know DC grew up a big Ranger fan?
I did.
So it had to be a big night for you, man. When you grow up with a team that, whatever you hit an age, pick it. I don't care what it is, and that's been your team, and they've never won, and you finally see them win. I remember when the Kings won the Cup, and it was like, wow, I never thought I'd see that. How was that for you last night?
It was amazing. It really was. So back in the day, my brother and I were just so into it, and he's the little brother, so I always called him Pete Incaviglia, and the nickname Inky. So I called him up. I'm Inky. What's going on? And so we're reminiscing about Juan Gonzalez and Julio Franco and Dean Palmer, Nolan Ryan, Kevin Brown, Ivan Rodriguez,
Jeff Burrows.
Yeah, it goes on and on. Brian Downing, all these dudes.
Brian Downing.
Yeah, that's how deep we were. You didn't have the internet, so you just checked box score every day, and you got to know these guys. You went to their camps. When Kevin Brown now, everyone thinks of him as a Yankee, but when he was a rookie,
I think of him as a Dodger. They paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, I suppose as a Dodger fan, I get that. But yeah, he was the guy that would do pitching camps and stuff when he was a rookie, and now he's Hall of Famer. It's just, I don't know. It's an amazing feeling. It really is.
It's got to be. They're crazy, dude. They won every road game they played in the postseason. So much for you and your winning the division and home field advantage and getting that rest and resting your pitchers and setting them up and playing games at home and whatever, man. They were pretty damn dominant. They were pretty dominant throughout the entire playoffs. They had a good series with the Astros. They dominated Tampa Bay, and they were better than the Diamondbacks. 4 games to 1, and they win it in 5. I don't know how they're going to go down. I'm not going to sit here and start talking best teams ever. I won't do that to you. But they may go down as one of the most underrated champions ever because, I think the ratings were down because it was 2 teams that people didn't really know about, so not as many people watch. But those who are in it, I think, appreciate what happened here.
Yeah, they were labeled. Not late, but they were a wild card team, so people didn't think they were good during the regular season. Yeah, people didn't realize how they think. Oh, look, it's Arizona. It's just a wild card team. They finished how many games back at the Dodgers? That wasn't the case with the Rangers. They battled with the Astros, the Mariners for a while in the AL West, going toe to toe with everyone. But that's going to happen, man. You have champions every year that get lost in time. It happens. But for this Rangers team, it was an incredible game because you had on one side Zach Gallen. They're like, is this dude going to throw no hitter? Right. Is he going to get the Diamondbacks into the series? But yet Nathan Eovaldi wasn't as clean, but he kept putting up zeros. He was getting out of situations. He was getting out of jams, and so many missed opportunities. Arizona 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Good night.
The word they kept using on the broadcast, he's a magician. He got out of it again, and he was. And that's what great pitchers do. That's what the great ones do. And is Nathan Eovaldi great? Yeah, I don't know that I got a problem saying yeah. Do you?
He was great on the biggest stage.
He was great on the biggest stage. And great when it mattered. The Texas Rangers are what? Besides world champions, Texas Rangers are what? Because I look at it, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and it's going to be a little longer than one word. A model. They had patience. They went out and found a great manager in Bruce Bochy, who's now won 4. Can we call him that? Because I mean, I don't know how else you judge these things. They did it from within. They went out and got pieces. They did it organizationally in a way that feels like, and I don't want to sit here and say, well, that's how you should do it. But it feels like that's how you should do it.
I don't think it changed anything.
Okay.
It's just a team that's doing the same thing as everyone else. We spend $500 million in an infield. That's doing a lot more than some teams do.
Corey Seager was that a good get for him?
Corey Seager was Mr. October. And it would have been Garcia, potentially. He was phenomenal in the postseason. Marcus Semien came through. Big time hit. So you credit the Rangers, but it's not anything game changing. What they did with that, what all the other organizations are trying to do.
Yeah, and everybody's just trying to win and find the right mix of dudes who get hot at the right time. And boy, did they get hot at the right time, right? I mean, for a Ranger fan, like, how'd you feel at the end of the season when they had the Division I and they lost it in the last weekend and slipped into that wild card? I mean, did you think you were popping bottles?
Not at all. To be honest, yeah, when they fell at the end of the season, I that wild card seemed very daunting.
Yeah. And yet here they are. All right, so baseball fan, let's go. Get in. Because now it's over and the equinox has come to an end and we go into the off season and it's hot stove league and you can, we're going to go wherever we go. But let's go a little bit. Okay. And start getting into, what do you think about that? 505-246-0610 is where we are. What are the Rangers? Diamondbacks fans, and I know there's a few of you. This was gravy. This was a year or two ahead of schedule. Whatever schedule was. You beat the Dodgers. You got to the World Series. You beat the Phillies. All right, you got to buy the Dodgers. Well, yeah, the Dodgers, but that's what they do in the postseason. They falter. Okay. But the big, mighty Phillies who beat the crap out of you for 2 games. Right? First 2 games, beat the crap out of you. You got to the World Series. You got through them. What an amazing season for Arizona, huh?
Unbelievable.
They're going to be a blip or are they going to be around for a while?
They can be a playoff team.
Okay.
Because if Gallen and Kelly stay top of your rotation, you have a locked-in star outfielder in Corbin Carroll.
Who's going to be terrific and already is.
I don't feel the same way necessarily I do like the early Astros run, like that level of talent. But being a wild card team, that is absolutely on the table for them the next few seasons.
All right. 505-246-0610. Here's what we're going to do for you today. We're going to talk some football. 8 o'clock this morning, Andrew Erickson, the senior wide receiver, local kid for the New Mexico Lobos, is going to be with us coming up at 8 o'clock. The Lobos have a big one against UNLV at home on Saturday afternoon. 2 home games left, 2 road games left, coming off the disappointment that was Nevada last week. We're going to talk with Andrew Erickson. I think you're going to enjoy him, a local kid who's really watched this program go through quite a bit and has found his place. And when you say he's Dylan Hopkins, a safety blanket, is that fair? Maybe most reliable, not most explosive, but most reliable receiver?
I don't think he gets enough opportunities to that because it's probably Ryan Davis.
Yeah.
But he is...
And JJ did this underneath.
Yeah, like slot, boom, slot guy. Yeah. But Andrew Erickson is one of the more important receivers because he knows what is going on. He gets everyone lined up. He is the veteran in that wide receiver room.
Which game did he miss? Was it the New Mexico State game that he missed? There was a game that I did that he missed. It was either New Mexico State or it was San Jose State. And boy, did they miss him, right? I mean, it was a guy you could tell that he was missed. So that'll be at 8 o'clock, 8:30. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports is going to be with us. You can talk to him about the first college football playoff standings that came out, how the Pac-12 gets left out, what it means, and what the message was that was being sent by the committee, putting Tulane 24 and Air Force 25, putting the two non-power schools or group of 5 schools at the bottom of the standings, but more importantly, slotting a one-loss Tulane one spot ahead of the undefeated Mountain West team in Air Force, and what that means, and looking at schedules going forward, because that one, I think, boggled us a little bit. All right, so that's what we're going to do guest-wise. When we come back, lots of legend. Bobby Knight. And Bobby Knight's got his ties to New Mexico. There was that moment where y'all thought he was coming to coach the Lobos. Bobby Knight passed away. Bobby Knight was as big a figure in college basketball in the last half century as we have seen. And I do not believe that is too big of a statement. He passed away. What he meant, because that will be a void and he will be missed. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
Hey, look! It's... My activities here are past. I want they bury me upside down and my critics can kiss my...
It's time. It's time. Bobby Knight was pick it. Legends, too easy. Bobby Knight passed away, 83 years old, coached in Indiana for 29 years, built the Hoosiers into a national championship, a national power, and then went on to Texas Tech and was at ESPN and could care less what you thought of him and did it his way. And Mike Krzyzewski played for him. And it was, I made the statement going into the break. I think he is as influential a figure in college basketball as there has been in the last 50 years, the last half century. He hasn't coached since 2008. He stepped away with 902 wins, most all time at that time. He's now 6th all time in men's Division I basketball history. But he won the national championship in 1976, in 1981, and in 1987. And here we are. And this is one of those, I am old enough to kind of remember the Scott May, Kent Benson team that was the last team to go undefeated, 75-76. I remember watching it in black and white and on the console TV at my granddad's house, late night TV. The season before that, this is what gets lost on that. So they went undefeated in 75-76. The season before that, they were 31-1. They lost in the Elite Eight to Kentucky. And Bobby Knight always said that team, not the undefeated team, but that team was the best team that he ever had. So what were they? 30? I think they were 32-0 and 31-1. So that's 63-1 over 2 seasons. He went to the Final Four in 73 and 92, National Coach of the Year. But it was more about who he was and how he did it. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. I don't expect you to have vivid Bobby Knight recollections. So, and you and I are going to have a different perspective on Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight is what to you? Is the most graphic thing that him throwing the chair across the floor?
Bobby Knight is the last of the old school head coaches. Truly doesn't give a bleep. Would do anything because he knew he could get away with most everything. But he was very successful at what he did. Anytime you listen to anyone talk about Bob Knight, played for him, they changed him. But it was a different era of different expectations from coaches and players in the game of basketball. But he sure lasted a heck of a long time in said game. Winning a lot, very polarizing.
And controversial. I mean, he crossed the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of it was, as you look at, the coaches and the eras like Coach K's, Tom Izzo's, guys that been around for a while, kind of risen from that era. Bob Knight was the last one that hang on. And you just went, ooh, yeah, this dude is the guy that is yelling at you no matter what.
Yeah. There was the video that surfaced. It was CNN who had the video back in 1997, where he was seen choking former player Neil Reed. He was put on double secret probation by the NCAA, and then later he grabbed another student, Ken Harvey, approached him and purportedly said to him, "Hey, Knight, what's up?" and there was no respect, and he grabbed the kid, and he didn't resign, and so he was then dismissed at Indiana. That's when it kind of got hot around here, where there was a lot of talk that Bobby Knight was going to come to New Mexico. And some of you old schoolers are going to remember this a little bit better and maybe even a little bit differently than I. But there was talk that he was here, that he interviewed, that he was coming to coach the Lobos. Now, he never did, obviously, went to Texas Tech. He was instrumental in Steve Alford coming to coach the Lobos. When that search was going on, and David Schmidley was the president at the University of New Mexico, the former president at Texas Tech, the president who hired Bobby Knight at Texas Tech. That was a big reason that Steve Alford became the head coach at the University of New Mexico. So there was a lot to that. But DC, I was telling you earlier, one of the first sports books I remember reading, like really remember reading cover to cover and being engulfed in, was A Season on the Brink. John Feinstein wrote that famous book about a season with Knight and traveling with him. And I remember reading it and living in San Diego. I was in college. Maybe I was in LA at that time. But I just remember thinking about, you know what impressed me, describing the weather. Me being a Southern California kid and not experiencing the winters that they described in Indiana and going to Minnesota and going out, right? That was one of the biggest. But the taskmaster that he was, the way his players years later spoke with him with utter reverence, and I was like, I want to play for him. I wanted to play for that guy. I wanted to play for a guy who was that strict, that demanding. Now, I wasn't nearly good enough. I might be short, but I'm slow. But I wanted to play for him. Like when I read that book, I was all. But did you ever read it?
I have not. I actually was just looking it up, and I got kind of the snapshot of it. I remember seeing it. I just don't remember actually reading it.
Yeah, it's just an old school, old school in the 80s. A read on, John Feinstein, who's a great writer, still is a great writer. But listen to the tributes yesterday. I just, I'd heard Bob through the, he'd done some ESPN stuff and he kind of disappeared off of ESPN. And I heard he wasn't doing well. He was only 83 years old. I mean, you decide how old that is. That's a loss, man. It's a good life. It's an impactful life. I don't know. How do you judge a legacy? And I'd like to believe it's, did you make others better?
Fairly.
Right. Well, fairly. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. You can't exclude him throwing a chair and choking, what was it, Reed? Why did I forget his name? Is it Kyle Reed? Right. You can't, Neil Reed. You can't, all that. But the players who played for him still, right? I mean, I don't want to say unanimously because it isn't, but wouldn't you say like 90-something% just would still die for that guy?
Yeah.
It's a legacy, man. That means you had an impact. That means you had a positive impact. And what the game is. And I college basketball, to me, you guys tell me if you think you disagree with this, more than any other sport, the coach is the face of that program. I would even say more than football, right? But because players, and now more than then, but because, players graduate, that's just the thing. There is a sunset on how long that a player is eligible. And so back in that day, if you had a guy for 4 years, that was it. And then but Bobby Knight was there for 29 years. John Wooden was at UCLA for all those years, right? Mike Krzyzewski, now when you think of Duke, even though he's gone, you think of Tom Izzo at Michigan State. I think more than anything, college basketball, the coach is the face of a program. And he, to me, became the face of college basketball. It was after Wooden, right? At the end of Wooden and then after Wooden retired. And it was him and Dean Smith, right?
Yeah. You're right. When it comes to when you think about programs, even now.
Yeah. No, go.
What do you think about Georgia? Brock Bowers? No, you're thinking Kirby Smart.
That's right.
Alabama.
Well, it's
Nick Saban.
Yeah, in college especially.
Who's the quarterback for Clemson? I don't know, but I sure know Dabo Swinney can go off.
100%. Do you know? Can you name me two players on Kentucky? But you can tell me about John Calipari, right?
Yeah.
You don't know anything about St. John's, but you know Rick Pitino's their coach, don't you? Right? Tell me, I even think Mick Cronin's become the face of UCLA now. Right? And even though they don't stay there very long anymore, coaches don't, it's not like, 29 years for crying out loud, right? But you know where coaches are, and coaches are characters, especially in basketball, because there's so much FaceTime of coaches and stomping and there's so much personality of coaches during the game. And boy, was he something else. Love to hear your thoughts. I know some of you have thoughts. Sid says, Mr. Symbieta, folks don't realize how much this would have changed the trajectory for the struggling Lobo athletic department. This wasn't an old Tark the Shark to beautiful Fresno, California. This was Bobby Knight in his prime, and it was real that he might come here. Yeah, no, Sid, I appreciate you. This fan base was like, whoa, Bobby Knight's coming to Albuquerque to coach the Lobos. Can you imagine what the trajectory, like what this program would have been or could have been, or who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have won here. I don't know.
He made something out of Texas Tech, so
yeah.
You put that out there, and I think to myself, this could be one of those top 25 programs that they're constantly talking about. If he spends 5 years here and really builds up facilities and changes recruiting, that we'd be looking at a totally different team and university.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Would basketball with Bobby Knight here been able to build football and project to whatever power conference? I mean, who knows, man? Right? I mean, who knows what you would have been? But it was something. Anyway, want your thoughts? Well, Bobby Knight passed away, 83 years old, and the impact that he had on college athletics and certainly basketball, immeasurable in some respects. But we try to put a measuring stick to it, and we'll take your calls on that and get through it. When we come back, the Raiders' new interim head coach spoke. Sounds a lot different than the old one. Why they made that change and what he had to say. We'll listen to Antonio Pierce. That is coming up next, and why he feels like he is the right guy for the right organization. Hey, the holidays are around the corner. Get your car taken care of. Then you can focus on your family. My friends over at On the Spot Automotive Detailing can help you get your car cleaned, detailed, and looking like new. Don't have the time? Don't need the time. On the Spot Automotive Detailing will do it for you wherever and whenever it is convenient. And when they're done, your car looks and feels and smells like it's brand new. Remember the day you took it off the lot? Remember how fun it was to drive? That's what it will be like. You don't need a new car for that. Have On the Spot Automotive Detailing come out and detail your vehicle. And I say come out to you. I don't know where they are. They know where I am, and they will find you. You're busy. You're in the office. They're in the parking lot. You get a text, you go outside, and people are hanging around your car going, damn, look at that. I want that. You can have it. They also offer window tint services for your vehicle. Call them at 505-859-2859, 505-859-2859, or you can book online at otsdetailing.com.
This report is brought to you by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Here at Clark's Pets, we understand your pets. We take meticulous time to find out more about them. Dig deep into their world to understand their needs. We do research for knowledge of each pet, so you can trust Clark's Pets to provide you the best products and service for your pets, because we work hard to understand all of their needs. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hey, Dad, I'm gonna go out.
New chapter, new areas, new mindset. What is that mindset? The fact of the Raider Pride, commitment to excellence, and making sure our alumni, our fan base, and Raider Nation are proud of what they see on the field. What does that look like? Tough, passionate, effort, energy, that enthusiasm that you see when we all watched our kids.
This is Raider interim coach Antonio Pierce.
Having that love for the game. We're on the same page. Champ and myself, our staff is connected. We had a great team meeting this morning. Everybody was stilly-eyed and focused. We walked in with a smile on our face. The synergy, the energy in this building, and the personality of our players will reflect on who we are as Raiders.
All right, that's Antonio Pierce, the new interim coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Mark Davis said, he's the owner of the team, said he just thought the team was going in the wrong direction. Unquote, unfortunately, I had great hopes for Josh McDaniels and David Ziegler, who he fired. It just seemed we were going the wrong direction. So with the trade deadline, I just felt it was time to make a change, time to make a move, end quote. This is a guy that's fiery, that people seem to love, that want to play for. When things aren't going well, you go opposite, don't you? You go the other way. You hire a veteran coach, it doesn't work. You hire a young coach, right? You have a disciplinarian, it doesn't work. You get a players coach, whatever that means. I don't know, man. I mean, it almost feels like there's nothing to lose, right?
Other than football games.
Well, they've been losing those. I mean, they've been doing that. So,
yeah, that is one where Josh McDaniels, you benched Derek Carr, you moved on, kind of scapegoated him for the offense. Go in with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's been bad. They're bottom 4 points per game. You have a number 1 wide receiver that is getting lost in that game plan. And nothing looked good. Offensively, that was a unit last year that Josh Jacobs, one of the leading rushers in the league. With Devontae Adams, the addition of Jacoby Myers, figured out they should have a pulse, they should have an identity. They had none of that this season. And when you have an offensive head coach and they're missing that bad on offense, losing games, 3-5 on the season. Mark Davis is going to be willing to eat another contract to move on.
Man, these boys are going to eat it too. It's going to be a hard one to get down the gullet, isn't it? $10 million more a year to another guy you're already paying another $10 million a year to.
I don't know what there was ever to trust with Josh McDaniels.
I don't either, man.
We watched him pull out of a job with the Indianapolis Colts. We watched him be a disaster in Denver. Now, second chances, you shouldn't ever just look at someone and say, well, you can never be a coach because your first stop was bad. Because you learn and you grow. But with Josh McDaniels, I mean, he was a guy that when he went back to the Patriots and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, the track record is good enough that dudes from that organization, just leave them there. They're not good enough to be your head coach.
All right, 505-246-0610. Let's talk NFL. Sean, good morning. You want to talk about the Jets? What's up, Sean?
Absolutely. How's it going, gentlemen?
Good. How you living?
It was a rough weekend. That was one of the worst games I've ever watched between the Jets and Giants.
It was disgusting.
Like, minus all the injuries, it was still one of the worst games of football I've ever seen the Jets play.
And they won.
And they won. They didn't deserve to win.
And they won.
Like, third down conversion was terrible in itself, but with less than 2 yards or 2 and fewer yards, we were 0-4 in third down. How do you let that happen? We've got Breece Hall.
He had one big run. That's all it really took.
Even Dalvin Cook, the guy has been a ghost all year, actually use him.
Be nice.
But I want to talk about the turf debate, see where you guys really land on it. Quentin Williams came out and said he loves football. Doesn't matter. He'll play on concrete for all he cares.
Yeah.
Like, with all the injuries that the Jets had, and the Giants even, the turf wasn't the issue in my opinion. And for a lot of the injuries I've seen this year, turf hasn't been the issue.
Yeah, injuries happen on grass as well. And the science tends to tell you that there's percentage, whatever the percentage is, more non-contact injuries, ankles, knees, joints on the turf. And many players feel that it's safer. The science tends to lead that way, right? And so if that's the case, to JJ's point, if they can put grass in there for World Cup soccer, then why can't they figure it out for football? If in fact it's safer, then make it safer.
Absolutely. And if it's something that does become mandated at some point, how does that impact international games? Are you going to go tell Tottenham they have to have grass all the time?
Don't know how they're going to do it. How are they going to grow grass in the Superdome in New Orleans or some of these places that don't have retractable roofs? I don't know how they're going to do it. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out.
It seems like a debate that's just going to go in circles. Mm-hmm. But I feel like for fans, at the end of the day, you see you get paid millions of dollars to play this game. Play on any surface, right?
Well, they will. I promise they will. They just want to stay healthy. So, all right, what do you got? Jets on Monday night this week against the Chargers. Oh, look at you with the Chargers. Why don't you go take care of those guys, too?
See, it's always a winnable game against the Chargers.
Always a winnable game.
But I appreciate you, gentlemen. You'll hear from me next week.
Be well. See you. I mean, where are you on the turf? Have you moved on that at all, on the turf debate?
No, it's... Most of these guys are going to play the game, to Sean's point. If you can have grass...
I'm going to play it.
Have grass. Like, the NFL has enough money to get it figured out. Is it going to be the best-looking grass ever? No, but then we've talked about synthetic grass. You can weave in some stuff, help it out when it gets late in the season. Because it's going to fall on deaf ears when we're watching that World Cup at MetLife Stadium and they're playing on grass.
How are they going to do that, by the way?
Sod, just lay it down.
On top of, like, what are they going to do? They're just going to put, like, a board, like the cover all over the field and then just lay sod.
Only way you can do it.
How good is that grass going to be? It's not going to be rooted. Right? I mean, like I'm not going to pretend to be a grassologist. But isn't part of it the root system? And, right, we used to hear, I've listened to enough groundskeepers talk about it and how mummy talk about the
I wonder... They'll probably have a couple months.
Well, are they going to take up the artificial turf?
No.
And so what's it going to root into?
You probably build a base, Put your dirt down. Put your sod down.
All right. I
Give
don't
it
know.
a couple months. Play your World Cup games and rip it.
And rip it right back out and put
Take
it
it all apart.
and give it to Vinny in Jersey and let him put it in his yard. Which, by the way,
Have a World Cup field in your backyard.
Seriously, I mean, it'd be pretty nice grass. And when we come back, Lobos wrapped up their exhibition season in men's basketball last night. They played New Mexico Highlands. Were you there? Want your thoughts? Let you know how it went, and are they ready? Richard Patino is going to be with us almost 24 hours from now. Set your alarms. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Lobo men's basketball coach scheduled to be with us pre the opener on Monday. But we'll get into last night's Lobo victory over New Mexico Highlands. Who you like, who you're concerned about, and what you get out of the exhibition season. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The sports animal, your home for Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. all of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at Golden Pride ABQ.
Global basketball at the Pit last night beat New Mexico Highlands 86-73. A little tighter than maybe you thought it was going to be. It was down the stretch. UNM's defense, it was a 4-minute game with 7 minutes to play, 69-65. Lobo defense took over. Highlands hit just 2 of their last 9 shots over the last 7 minutes, and UNM pulled away. They scored. They had 14 turnovers forced. Steals is what I'm trying to tell you. And they got 25 points out of Jamal Mashburn Jr., 23 out of Donovan Dent. A nice game for Quentin Webb. 9 points, 9 rebounds for the freshman off the bench. And exhibition season is now over. You'll get it started for real. It's a he-she double header, right? Or
buy one, get one free.
Yeah, men's and women's double header on Monday. You'll have the women. What time you start with that?
4:30 pregame.
So 5 o'clock tip on Monday.
Right here on the Sports App.
The opener against
Texas Southern.
And then the men will play
Texas Southern
right after that. So you get both teams opening up for real.
So you're going through a Costco shop in the schedule. I'll get 2 for 1. Let's go.
Take a pair of Texas Southerns. Maybe they get to travel together and that whole thing. All right. Couple things. No Jamal Baker. No Jalen House. And no...
I haven't seen Mushila yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mushila yet. Should I be worried yet? We got a little Nelly Jr. Joseph. Should I be worried yet that of guys that I'm not seeing yet? Injuries early? Is it just early season bang-ups? I mean, Richard will be with us tomorrow.
Wonder if Baker's just load management.
7th, dude. As I read that, 7th year senior. I don't know that we've ever seen that before. Have you?
It might just be a couple based on
our next guest is a 6-year guy.
The 2020 season, extra year of eligibility, but it's, if you're Jamal Baker, you don't want to be in that position because he's lost a lot of time due to injury, but he's excited to have this opportunity to try to go out the best he can in his collegiate basketball career. Yeah, you're always worried when guys are hurt early, but for the Lobos, the fact you have Donovan Dent in that backcourt, a true guard, you see his decision-making, you see his playmaking ability, that makes you feel good if it's going to take some time for Jalen House to ramp up.
I just said this to you off the air, and I'll say it out loud. And I asked you in a question because I believe the answer ultimately can be yes. Can Donovan Dent be better than Jalen House? Now, I'm not saying Jalen House shouldn't play. Please, 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 that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not going to base that simply on 2 exhibition games against a team from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Okay?
Absolutely fair.
I won't. But I watched him as a freshman. I've watched him in exhibition games against RMAC teams. I think I have a pretty good idea what he is. He can be pretty special.
He can be a better true point guard than Jalen House.
Yeah. When it's all said and done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of his ability to get inside. And by the way, Jalen House can get to the basket. But the Donovan Dent, it feels a little more calm. What I'm happy is if I'm Richard Pitino and I have Donovan and Jalen House, I'm not benching one or the over or this. I go for 40 minutes every single night. I have a true playmaker leading the offense.
And I got a guy like True Washington who I got to get minutes. And Jamal Baker's not even in the.
Well, and you can play these guys off. I think True Washington, his role is going to be just a defensive pest.
Okay.
He's 6'4". He's huge. So if you're playing True Washington, you can probably play him at the 3 sometimes if you want to have Jalen House and Jamal Bashburn on the floor. He's for his defensive versatility because that's where Jamal Baker is going to start. But staggering the minutes, knowing that I have a playmaker, I have a guy that's going to break down the defense, whether it's Dent or House, for 40 minutes, is a great place to be. And just some of the versatility in the backcourt. And you're looking at, you see it. JT Toppin, the freshman forward, is going to play a role on this team this year.
9 points, 8 rebounds. He started last night. He played 23 minutes. That freshman did. He's long. He's active. He's bouncy. He's skilled. He's going to be really good. Nelly Jr. Joseph did start, played 26 minutes last night, 9 points and 7 rebounds, 4 of 6 shooting as he gets himself into playing shape. There's a lot here. They're so deep. Mustafa Amzil played 23 minutes, got you 2 rebounds and 4 points. He's going to be a big contributor. And I just think this team is deep enough. Somebody's got an off night. Now you're going to go, Jeff. They're beating RMAC teams by 13 points. Why are they so good? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. If you're going to get lost in that, if you drop a game here early, then you can have that conversation, right? But you're opening up against Texas Southern on Monday, and then you go to St. Mary's. That next week, right?
Yep, is here. Let's go. Going to Cali.
So next Thursday, a week from tonight,
it's going to get real fast.
St. Mary's is what, top 15? If I'm not mistaken. It's an ESPN Plus game at St. Mary's. So pretty quick, you're going to have a pretty good idea what you are, right?
Yes, you are.
Pretty quick, you're going to have a good idea what you are because you're getting tested early on the road. Then you get a week off. You'll come home for UT Arlington and go to Vegas for the 3 games against Toledo, Rice, and Pepperdine.
Preseason 38 in the Ken Palm rankings for St. Mary's.
But in the rankings, like in the polls, they were, I know.
Mexico 46.
Is that what they're?
Preseason Ken Palm.
So this is a top 50 Ken Palm game. That's really
good out the gate. True road game. And we were talking about this Tuesday when Jeff Grammer stopped in hanging out. These are few and far between in college basketball.
True road games
they've given up on non-conference season, and it's unfortunate. And they've just been like, yeah, no one's going to watch us, so we don't have to push our teams the way it's set up. The changes coming to the NIT, just like everything is just morphing towards teams not having to go on the road if you're in a power conference. So to get a game like this is awesome.
It's going to be a fun test. All right, Richard Pitino is going to be with us tomorrow morning. The plan is at 8 o'clock, so right about now, tomorrow morning. And if you're in your car or if you're not, you'll be able to find it. We look forward to having that conversation pre-opener with him. Our next guest is, a 6-year senior? I got this from Gopher, JJ. Can you answer this for him? Jeff, with all this supposed talent brought in at the wide receiver position, why is Andrew Erickson even playing? He's slower than JJ picking up the check for grub in Vegas. I don't know. Is he that slow?
Because he's not that slow.
Yeah, he's not. So you got to be a sprinter to be a receiver.
And he's very important when it comes to understanding the offense and where these dudes need to be.
Oh, and by the way, catching the ball.
And heck yes, I'm slow because I'm not in the same tack bracket as these other dudes in Vegas. So eat it.
It was good grub too. It was good. It was eaten. Then JJ's picked up a meal, just not that one. Nor should he, by the way.
I owe you a meal.
What do you owe me a meal for? Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah.
What was it for? I forgot. Oh, you took the Broncos. Yeah. It was a half a point. What game was it?
The first Broncos-Chiefs matchup this year.
Oh, the 18-9 game or the 19-8? What was it? 19-8 because it was 10.5.
Yeah. It was, the game was 11. The spread was 10.5. I now owe you.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Don't forget.
No, I did. I did.
I'm ready to pay that tab.
All right. Where do you want to go?
I need you to tell me.
You want breakfast? You want lunch? You want lunch? You want to go hang out? What do you want to do?
I want to. I want to know the best restaurant in this town.
Wow. It's a lot of pressure, man.
I know.
It's a lot of pressure. It might be Firehouse Subs, our sweet deal tomorrow coming in.
Hey, if that's the best, I'm not going to complain. I tried that one last time. It was fire. It really was.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. Texas Southern, according to Carl, is just another glorified breeze for Lubbock basketball before the real games start. Right, Jeff? P.S. The contests are definitely more enjoyable to watch with Dent than House. The House hate's already started.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous.
Where did the House dislike come from? Jalen House has been, and again, I'm going to go, I said this last year and I said it the year before, and I will stand by it. When I tell you this, I'm not telling you he's the best player that's been around here in a long time. I said he is the most dynamic player that the Lobos have had in years. Is he out of control a little bit at times? Yeah. And is he special at times? Absolutely. He plays with passion. He plays. There's no downshifting. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want a guy like that on your team?
This should be a guy that if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, you dislike him because of that. But there's
almost this Cohen Neal start thing with him.
Yeah, there's some people that they stereotype a point guard, what a player should do, how a player should act, and go after him.
Yeah, Carl, I'm going to disagree. I mean, I look, I'm if you like watching Dent more than House, that's fine. But man, I haven't gotten it since it started. I don't understand it. When we come back, a little Lobo football. They play UNLV this weekend. One of their leading receivers is going to be with us. He's a veteran. He's a local guy, and he's got a really good story. Andrew Erickson from Manzano High School is going to be with us. That's next. It's the opening drive. We're going to ask him how they turn this thing around this weekend on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2400. 820 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Lobos back at it at University Stadium, 4 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. They will host UNLV. Game's over on News Radio KKOB. If for some reason you can't get out there, and do get out there, I will have the call with George Carter on the Mountain West Network if you want to watch the game. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. We'll get back to your phone calls in a little bit. Looking forward to the conversation with our next guest. He's on a double super season, a 6-year senior. The term you didn't use a lot. I don't want to say he's been around, for a long time. But when our next guest played at Manzano High School, it was back when Manzano High School was playing for championships. In fact, he scored the winning touchdown in the 6A state title game against La Cueva when the Monarchs won a state championship back in high school in 2017. Andrew Erickson is with us on The Sports Animal. Good morning, Andrew. How you living?
I'm good. How are you?
Life's good, man. Big one coming up. And how's the pulse in that locker room coming off of, I know it was a disappointment last week. Coach says we still got goals in front of us. He says we got to find a way to win 3 and 4. Is that kind of what the focus is, or is it just one, or how are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to come off a loss like that, but I think everyone's focused and ready to go on to the next one. You know, I think that's the focus right now. Just get one more, focus on the next game. So,
what happened up there? And Dylan didn't have a great first half. Was a different guy in the second half. You're on that offensive side, and sometimes I think when you look at the tape, you realize it's not always on the quarterback. And I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but what happened up there in the first half?
Yeah, it's definitely not all on the quarterback. We all made mistakes, and I think, credit to them. They came out, played hard, and hit us in the mouth, and we didn't respond very well. So I think, for us, just figuring out how to bounce back quicker and stop making mistakes early on.
All right, respond is going to be a big deal against a good UNLV team this week. For you, there's 4 left. You're hoping there's 5 left. How are you looking at it the last month of your 6th season as a college football player?
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to enjoy what's in front of me, take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time, not really focusing on the season as a whole, just taking it day by day and having fun with it.
Andrew, when you look at what Dylan Hopkins has done and the kind of confidence that he's brought this offense, what's it been like having him and Bryant Vincent come in, learning this system, but having 2 guys that know it so well, and then you as a veteran, but being able to lean on Dylan in tough situations, know, hey, this guy is still going to come through?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, honestly, working with them this season. They've brought a lot of life. It's been a lot of fun just learning a new offense, and it's been successful so far. So I've had a lot of fun, and Dylan has brought a lot of maturity and just been able to help me out and understand the offense and what plays are supposed to look like, what looks we're trying to go against. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
For you this season, you have been able to be a playmaker. You made some big catches in certain situations, from Dylan Hopkins. But did you also have to kind of assert yourself as a leader on this offense as well when you look at the new faces at the wide receiver position? Was that an easy thing, or was it something that you kind of had to remind yourself, I kind of am a veteran around here. I got to be able to lead these guys and make sure they know what they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, we have so many guys in that receiver room, and there are some new faces, but everyone came in ready to work and ready to, get better. So it's been really easy, honestly. We have a great room, and it's just been a lot of fun, honestly, for me to play with these guys and experience this season with them. So it's been good.
Andrew Erickson is the Lobos' fourth leading receiver, 15 catches, 201 yards, and a touchdown, all Mountain West, all academic 3 times. And Lobos will play UNLV on Saturday. All right, when you look at UNLV, what do they pose? Because this is a different UNLV squad that has been in the past, a 6-2 team that certainly is one of the best teams in your league right now.
Yeah, their defense, looking at them defensively, they're really, really good. They do a lot of different things on defense, and they play really hard. So we're going to have to, be on top of stuff and really execute at a high level to be able to be successful.
Yeah. How's the overall psyche of the team? And look, man, you've been in that locker room for 6 years. You've seen a lot, right? You've gone through different coaches. You've seen a lot. Winning is fun, and when you don't get the results, I know it can be frustrating. How's it holding together, and are there certain dudes that are holding the locker room together?
Yeah, like I said kind of earlier, it is tough to keep having losses that you need to win, and there are lots of leaders on this team. I think we have a very mature football team and a good group of leaders who are trying to keep the mental state up, because it is tough when you lose like that. So I've been proud of the guys and just trying to keep a positive mindset as we continue through the weeks.
We always sit around and we talk about college football from the outside, and we watch it, and I work in it and do a lot. In you got on campus in 2018. How much have you seen college football change? I mean, whether it's the portal and dudes coming in, whether it's NIL, you got a unique perspective, because the 6-year span that you've been in it feels, from where I'm sitting, man, there's been as much change in your game as in any other 6-year span in the last 3 decades in your sport.
Yeah, it has changed a lot for sure. I mean, the big things, the portal and NIL have definitely changed a lot, and I mean, a lot of recruiting stuff. So it's interesting when you have so much turnover every year because of the portal, and we haven't had very successful seasons, so there's just always a lot of new faces and new guys. So it is different for sure.
Joined by Andrew Erickson here on the Sports Animal, Lobos wide receiver. And for you, over that time, though, you've also put in a lot of work in the classroom. You graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. You're working on a master's. So what do you hope the future holds for you after football? What are you going to use that for?
I'm getting my master's in mechanical engineering and hoping to do some kind of automotive engineering, or just be able to provide for my wife and future family. So, just looking forward to doing something with it.
When you got married, things change, huh? I mean, does your perspective just change? I'm going to be honest with you, and I love these conversations with the student athletes, but there's not a lot who start talking while they're still in school, talking about providing for my wife, for my family. You're a mature young man, 23 years old, playing college football. When did the whole mindset change for you?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. I think when I married my wife, it was a big step, but honestly, I think she kind of shifted my mentality a little bit to just think about not just myself, but someone else. I got to look out for and provide for. So,
you mean you grew up and became a man? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess so, a little bit, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Doesn't grow up.
When you go through high school in this city, right? And you're a Lobo fan, probably. You and your brother both on this team, and you learn about this program. You grow up with UNM. What do you know now, after 6 years on this campus, that maybe you had no idea when you came on as a fresh-faced freshman back in 2018? What have you learned about the program, the state, the university that maybe you had no idea?
Man, that's a good question.
I didn't mean to quiz you. I should have given you. You didn't study, did you?
No, I was ready.
Yeah. I'm just thinking as you go through the process. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think there's just a lot more that goes into it than I had realized, and I think that goes for just all of college football. But there's so much that goes into so many people that support the program and try to build it up and make it what it is. And I'm just very appreciative for everyone that's put in so much time and invested in my life and in this program. So yeah.
Well, keep it going. You got a big one on Saturday, and you can make it an even bigger one next Saturday, and an even bigger one the Saturday after that. And I know there's still goals out there. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. Best to you and to Ashley and to what you're doing, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, be well. Andrew Erickson, fourth leading receiver for Lobo football. It's a different cat, right? I mean, you get a lot of guys that, 18, 19, 20-year-old.
What is this, BYU?
Yeah, but doesn't it? Think of when you got married. I got married way later, man. I was a kid I still haven't screwed up. I wasn't good at it. I didn't last very long at the married thing. So here I am. I mean, you guys are men, right? It changes your perspective. You ready for Red Zone? Do you want to do it now or do you want to do it later? We can hold it.
Let's hold it.
All right, we'll hold it. When we come back, I got something for you. So I don't know that you've heard this. The Rangers won the World Series. I know you know that. They won all of their road games, ROAD. Do you know what that acronym means? It's going to somewhat amaze you when I tell you how this worked out. That's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, and tonight football.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us, and my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
The Sports Animal. All right, we're going to get with Jerry Palm coming up here at 8:30, CBS Sports, and get into some college stuff. Phones are ringing at 505-246-0610. I'm getting there in a minute, too. Astros. The Rangers win the World Series last night. They win by winning the series in 5. They won every road game. Was it 11, right? 11 road games. So what would you say, when it's all said and done, what's the theme of this Rangers postseason?
I'd say that would be at the top.
The road, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you spell road? It's not a trick question. How do you spell road?
ROAD.
Do you know who they beat in the 4 teams that they went on the road? And in order, they beat the Rays, the Orioles, the Astros, and the D-backs. Wow. I mean, I believe in JJ knows. I believe in this weird mystic sports stuff. I just totally do. And I credit Ryan for sending me this. But
don't feed the beast, Ryan.
I mean, come on, dude. So tell
that was a good one. I didn't see that coming.
You didn't see that coming, right? But they beat the Rays, the Orioles, the Astros, and the D-back. How do you spell ROA? Like, that stuff doesn't just happen, does it?
It's meant to be, apparently.
I mean, there's some mystic. I'm just saying.
I like the sports mystic.
Did I oversell the tease? I don't think I did, right? It's
cool.
kind of amazing, right?
It really is, actually. That's cool.
All right. You guys didn't know that. I know you
did not know that.
I know neither one of you knew that. All right, 505-246.
If I would have known that, then I would have put all my money on the Rangers.
All right, Bobby Knight passed away yesterday as well. And DC and I were just having a conversation, and you were saying that you had buddies in Indiana who are just distraught that they're taking the day off. There's not many figures that had the impact that Bobby Knight did. Mike, I know you want to talk about Bobby Knight. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Beautiful day in Albuquerque. Yeah, so I saw that last night. The first thing that came to mind is the history and the discipline that you may have liked it or not, but it seems like in this world today we're lacking that. But my condolences to his family and fans. But it always seems there's got to be some wonderful stories about the tie between Colson. I mean, not Colson. It would have been who was the coach that was before that used to hang out with Bobby Knight and the Bear?
Norm Ellenberger. Norm Ellenberger. Yeah.
Norm Ellenberger. Yeah. I think there's some stories about them going fishing down to San Juan a few times and hanging out in the summer and I wonder if some of the listeners, if they got some great stories, I'd like to hear them.
Yeah, I would too. No, I know that Norm Ellenberger and Bobby Knight were buddies, and I had heard it at some point they were really tight, and hence the relationship, and then the whole that whole rumor that Bobby Knight, and I don't know how true it was at the time, was going to, was real close to becoming the UNM head coach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would be a great, at some point when you guys have time to celebrate his life. Yeah, that dude was something else, man.
Right on, Mike.
But, I just wanted to give my condolences.
Appreciate you. No, thank you. We were having this conversation, JJ, just off the air, DC and I. How many figures have the impact that Bob Knight had? And I know I said earlier today that I think he is as impactful as anybody in the last half century in college basketball, maybe even college athletics. But when you told me that story, DC, that the whole the community, people aren't going to work, they're mourning, I'm like, whoa, how many people would have that, right? Maybe like a Tom Landry, when Bear Bryant passed, it was probably like that. You said the list has got to be really, really short. I don't have a ton, dude.
Especially since it was 23 years ago. So
since he last coached there. Well, and there are people who are pissed that he got run out of there, right? Really pissed. Now, look, they had no choice. He was pushing it and he basically dared them to fire him, right? But I'm going to, like a Bear Bryant kind of a thing, right? Where a community still somewhat totally identifies with what that person created, right? They're still, when you go, and I went to an Alabama game now, it was years ago, when it was Franchione's first year, so it was 2001 or 2, but there were still people wearing Bear Bryant hats going to games. There still are, you still see him in the stands, right? He still has that impact at Alabama. People still wear, they still wear those striped pants, the warm-up pants Indiana does, that they wore back in that era.
Oh yeah, that is synonymous.
Right? John Wooden was that guy. But it almost has to be that town too, right? I mean, LA's got so much. John Wooden was in LA. He might have been UCLA, but he wasn't LA.
That's the identity of that town.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Landry was that guy. Bear Bryant. When Krzyzewski passes, I think that will probably have a similar impact. You think Saban?
I think he's getting there. He has had such a run that people will mention.
Is he still in Bear Bryant's shadow somewhat? Well, he's created his own whatever it is, right? The shadow of Bear Bryant's never going away, right?
No.
I don't think it. I think that's one where people in Alabama would probably have a different answer than anyone else. Because my answer is yes, Saban has passed that. Like he's gotten to a point of, Bear Bryant. All right, good. Nick Saban just as good.
Yeah, but I think because Bear Bryant created it,
okay,
right? And so, but yes, Ditka. I'm just thinking beloved figures by a base, whether it's a community, a base.
Considering his playing career and then coaching and then his work with media, I think he is kind of up there.
What about Michael Jordan? And hopefully we're years and years and years and years away from that. But for Chicago,
kind of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Okay. That's 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When Kobe, part of it was Kobe passed so young and so
just
tragically.
Devastating factors around everything.
Yeah.
But what about Phil Jackson?
Yeah, I don't think he's as identifiable with one place. I think it'll be impactful, but not night impactful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You had mentioned Roy Williams, and maybe. I think more so when Dean Smith passed. You just kind of put it into perspective for me that there's so few figures like this. Right? Identified, and JJ, your point's so right. I mean, he was there 29 years, but he hadn't coached there in 23 years. He had a parting with the place. He wouldn't go back there because he was so angry. And those people still, I mean, to your point, your friends who are there, their allegiance to this man and what he built there is unbreakable.
I'll tell you what the text said. And this is a guy who owns a race team. He's fiery. He's always talking smack.
He owns a what?
A dirt track race team.
Okay, yeah.
But he just sent me a text that said, "I'm so sad." And that is just not in his character. And it really hit home that the guy's 45. He, even though it's been 23 years, like, that is their guy.
Yeah, I got one for you. Tom Osborne.
Ooh, yeah. Nebraska. That.
Yeah.
I do think that's a good one. That'd be on that.
What about Barry Switzer for Oklahoma?
I don't think that's up there with some of the others.
Okay,
Like, we're talking
fair.
about
That's fair. Yeah, I'm throwing stuff at the wall right now.
No, and it's fair because it's such a unique conversation that just sort of came out of nowhere.
Well, Osborne was there forever, right? Didn't go anywhere else. Became a senator for that state.
That tells you a lot about what they think of him.
Yeah, I got to meet him a few years ago. He was out in Gallup speaking out at the Rotary thing out there that they do, and Sammy Chota does. Sammy C's Rockin' Sports Pub out there. All right, just a thought. Run that by Jerry Palm. See what he thought of Bobby Knight. A lot to talk to Jerry about from CBS Sports. We're going to go through the first college football playoff standings and try to make some sense out of a few things. The Pac-12 being left out of the top 4 and the group of 5 being grouped at the bottom. It's the opening drive. That's next on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night football.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the Frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's.
Well, first week of November, it gets real in college football, if it's not already real. A whole lot going on. It's the opening drive. Jefferson Beata, J.J. Buck. Lobos at home on Saturday, 4 o'clock, UNLV. A 6-2 UNLV team will be in town. I'll have the call on the Mountain West Network with George Carter, and it'll be over on News Radio KKOB. Aggies are down in Las Cruces with a chance to become bowl eligible with their 7th win. They are 6-3. They've won 4 in a row. They play Middle Tennessee down at Aggie Memorial on Saturday. We are joined now by a guy you read every day over on CBSSports.com. Our good friend from CBS Sports, Jerry Palm, joins us. Good morning, sir. How you living?
I'm doing okay. 6-7 New Mexico State is actually first in line for a spot in a bowl game if there are not enough eligible teams.
I think we understand that differently then, because I was told they go into the 5-7 pool, and that would be after they would allow James Madison and Jacksonville State in.
Well, I'll double check.
Okay.
My notes, I have 6-7 written down as first.
Because I asked that question specifically on a call. Because I mean, for obvious reasons.
You might be right then.
Yeah,
I'll double check.
I will too, and then I'll get you offline. Yeah,
it's possible the 6-7 applies to teams that are 6-7 after losing a conference championship.
Yeah, and I believe it's a conference championship game.
That's probably right.
Hey, I want to hit something.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I want to hit something on basketball before we get in. If I'm not mistaken, DC told me that you were in the Purdue band. Well, the Bobby Knight share throw was at Indiana against Purdue. I don't believe you were in the building, but were you in the band when that all went down?
Well, that was my senior year at Purdue. So at that time, spring semester, I'm playing in concert band. I was never in the pep band for basketball games because I was never good enough. We only had 2 saxes, and I was never going to be one of the top 2 saxes. But I marched all 4 years, but I was never in the basketball band.
Right on. I said earlier today, I think Bobby Knight was as impactful a figure in college basketball in the last half century, period. Whether you liked him, whether you hated him.
Impactful?
Impactful, yeah. And
you could certainly argue that.
Yeah, there's you're more in that world than we are. You live in that part of the country, and certainly there. How was that received? His passing yesterday, and I don't know. How do you put him into some sort of perspective?
Yeah, well, I mean, IU fans in particular were saddened by it, but he's been in poor health for a while, so there was no shock value to it because it's just something that if you were ever thinking about it, you figured it was coming probably sooner rather than later. But, for Indiana fans, which are numerous in this state, you might imagine that there's a lot of fond remembrances. Most of the reporting really touches on that. Especially those, the Indy. I haven't read the Indy Star. I would expect the Indy Star. I mean, you can't really talk about Bob Knight without talking about both sides of Bob Knight.
Sure.
And I think, even Indiana fans, I don't know, maybe the Bloomington paper is glossing over that. I don't know, but pretty much everybody else who writes about him, and I've written some pretty good stuff. If you have half an hour, Seth Davis's piece is really good, but it's lengthy. It's like a biography, but I learned a lot from it. But it's hard to talk about Bobby Knight without talking about all of it.
100%.
And, the good and the bad, and there's plenty of both. There really is plenty of both. He lived it's funny to him, probably a simple life, a simple set of standards, but his inability to control his temper was always a problem.
No doubt. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is with us on the Sports Animal.
Jerry, the first college football playoff rankings came out this week. What were your takeaways with how they placed the teams in the first rankings?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ohio State number one was kind of the had-to-be thing, right? The 5 undefeated teams at the top of the rankings, you could justify any order for 2 through 5, but Ohio State had to be 1. They had the best combination of schedule and quality wins, and it's not particularly close right now. And in part because Michigan, Georgia in particular, have got some seriously backloaded schedules. Florida State does not. But Florida State's in the ACC. They don't play the next 2 best teams in that league in the regular season, so their conference schedule is problematic, but they beat LSU. So, that's a big win. Washington's got the big win over Oregon in a league where, their schedule is also backloaded, relatively speaking, within that league. They've played they don't play everybody in the league, but they've played the lesser teams on their conference schedule already, and now they're going to play, USC, UCLA, I think Oregon State, and Washington State to end the regular season. So, these teams have got a lot of chances to prove themselves over the last 4 weeks of this season, and it's going to sort itself out. And in particular, Michigan and Ohio State are going to sort themselves out because they play each other.
There's no way undefeated Washington doesn't get in, right?
No, I don't see how.
Yeah. They made a statement at the bottom, 24-25, Tulane and Air Force, and I went through it, and I don't know that Tulane's got great wins. Air Force certainly doesn't either. Why do you think Tulane was put ahead of Air Force? And if they both went out, does Air Force have a shot to be that Group of 5 team?
Yes, they do. To answer that question first, I think it's because Tulane played Mississippi. And that was a reasonably competitive game, at least for a while. At Tulane, that's their only loss. So I think they have a strength of schedule advantage. In fact, I know they do, having seen the numbers. That's relatively significant at the moment. My expectation is that that's going to change over time because Air Force is going to play some better teams in their league, and Tulane is done with the better teams in their league, I'm pretty sure. So I think that discussion, if both of these teams win out, I give Air Force the nod, but I think it's going to be a big point of discussion. I think it'll be hard to leave undefeated out.
Yeah, Jerry Palm.
Undefeated Mountain West champion out.
Yeah, I think if they get there. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports is with us on the Sports Animal. How about USC's defense making a big play when it mattered, huh? Winning them a football game the other night.
One in a row. Of course, if they hadn't given up 49 to begin with, they wouldn't have needed to.
Unbelievable, huh? And they get Washington this week, the over-under 76.5. They gave up 49 to Cal and had to stop a 2-point conversion to win by 1.
Yeah. It's, I almost took the over. I mean, I almost put that in my best bets. It's like 76 is an enormous number for a college football game, but, this might be one that goes over. It's crazy. I've been riding Iowa unders all year.
Easy.
And, it might have been smart to ride USC overs as well.
100%.
Jerry, big one Saturday night. LSU at Alabama. What are you expecting from that one?
Tight game. I think the offenses will have their way at least a little bit because LSU is the USC of the South. They're struggling defensively, but their offense is fabulous. Their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, is a. I can't keep all the Jalen's and Jaden's apart.
Right.
He's a terrific player. Could be a Heisman candidate if LSU were to win their way to an SEC championship game. Otherwise, his team probably isn't good enough to make him a Heisman candidate. But, he's a fabulous player. Alabama's defense, which is terrific, is going to have their hands full. LSU's defense is problematic, which is weird because they've got great athletes on that side of the ball, and they're usually good defensively, but this year it's been a struggle. So I expect something of a relatively high-scoring game. But I always like Alabama at home.
Yeah. Oklahoma State. They call it Bedlam down there. Oklahoma just got clipped by Kansas, which is insane, right? That came out of somewhat nowhere for them. The fact that this may not be played again, or at least for a while, it is one of the great rivalries. I look at Oklahoma State with a chip on their shoulder, Oklahoma a little bit wounded. First of all, there's a part of me that thinks it's disgusting that they're not going to play every year.
I hate that kind of thing with these rivalries. And it was the same way when A&M left. They weren't going to play Texas anymore. Now it'll be a conference game again. But that kind of stuff annoys me.
Do you think Oklahoma's vulnerable here?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I picked this for my upset of the week. Oak State is a 6-point dog at home. And I think they're coming into this game, like you said, with a chip on their shoulder. Wanting to send something of a message like they always would anyway. But I think they've got a little extra juice for this game. They've got the nation's leading rusher, which can frustrate Oklahoma. If he has a game that, like he normally does, and they can take the air out of the ball and run a bit of clock and keep the Oklahoma offense on the sidelines, I like Oklahoma State's chances in this game.
All right. Lastly, what Oregon did maybe not lastly, I got two for you, but what Oregon did to Utah last week. I thought Oregon would win. I don't know that I thought they'd go in and look that impressive. Did you?
Yeah, that's a statement win for sure because of how good Utah usually is at home. What was that, an 18-game winning streak they broke?
Yeah.
And how good their defense usually is. And maybe holding Oregon to 35 is actually pretty good defense. But that's the first game. It's like, well, gosh, maybe if Cam Rising's there, it's a little different story because the offense would be more functional and could keep it maybe a closer game. But gosh, yeah, that's as impressive a performance as anyone has put up this season so far.
If Oregon runs the table and they play Washington in the Pac-12 championship game and beat Washington, does Pac-12 probably get left out?
It depends on what other teams do. I don't think Oregon finishes ahead of an undefeated team, but if there's room for a one-loss team, you have a strong case for being the top one-loss team.
Yeah, I just don't know who it would be, right? Because if you figure Georgia runs the table, Ohio State or Michigan win, Florida State, I don't see where they lose. I guess there's room for them in there. So
then it's Oregon and the Michigan-Ohio State loser.
Yeah, that's what.
But Oregon's a conference champion, and that's not nothing.
Fair enough. Yeah,
and the conference champion of the strongest league.
All right, on the strongest league, I look at so many teams, right? Oregon State, Arizona. Arizona's got nice.
That league's 8 deep.
Really.
It was like 6 deep to start the year.
And we're not even talking about Colorado being one of those 8, right? And are they going to get bowl eligible? They got to win 2 of their last 4. Oregon State, Arizona, Washington State, Utah. Feels like they almost got to beat Oregon State at home this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not confident in Colorado at the moment. Getting to bowl eligibility, they're a little dinged up, and they just don't have the depth. They've got great players on the on the field they're 22, but they just don't have a lot of depth, and so the margin for error for them is pretty small when it comes to injuries and other sorts of things.
I think that's right. All right, we'll read you every day. I will do my research and double check on that point on the 6 and 7.
I think you're probably right. If you heard it in one of your meetings,
yeah, I think to your point, the conference championship component was a big deal. It was 6 and 7, but if they're a conference champion or they're playing a conference championship game, I think that's and they could still get to their conference championship game. So, but that would make it. But then they'd be 6 and 8, and that would be a whole nother
they wouldn't
story.
Well, but they can get to their conference. They're not going to get to their conference championship game with only 6.
That's right. So they won't get there. Yeah, so it won't be an issue. No, very good point. Right. We'll catch you next week. Always appreciate the conversation. It's on the X at JP Palm CBS. Read them every day over on CBSSports.com. Thanks, Jerry. Have a great weekend.
Right. Thanks. You too.
He's the best. And look, he was all prepared. He was all ready for the New Mexico State stuff too. Big one for the Aggies this weekend down there. How was Jerry Kill this weekend? Or this week on Tuesday?
Good.
Yeah, he's probably in a good place, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did not know how impactful Pittsburgh State is to the coaching and football world.
Well, you know who also started there? Former Lobo coach Dennis Franchione was there for a long time.
A lot of connections.
And Coach Fran and Jerry Killer tied together. Yeah, on that tree. All right, a lot in what he had to say, including what he called the best league in America. How can they get left out? Well, they can still. That's next. It's the opening drive on the 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, and even tonight football.
This report. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop.
I am Michael Azera, midfielder for New Mexico United. Clark's support for the United is an example of their commitment to local partnerships. Clark's understands that paying it forward develops a better team and ultimately better community partner.
When you need pet food and supplies,
Clark's is always the best shot.
Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations.
Go United!
ClarksPets.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
That he's doing, having the Rebels at 6-2. A couple of things. I thought his perspective on Bobby Knight, and I had this text on the text line before that said, I'm curious about Jerry Palm's thoughts about Bob Knight because he's a Purdue alum. I thought his perspective was real. First of all, it's no shock. Everybody, he said, knew that he was in ill health, but you can't tell the story without both sides of it. And that's what we were saying earlier, right? Unbelievable impact. I just think the allegiance that fan base continued to have to Bob Knight over all these years is something that is trying to find the right word for it. It's special. I don't know, completely unique, but with everything that went down, there is a uniqueness to that. Secondly, the piece on Air Force and Tulane, JJ, he said he felt if Air Force runs the table, it's going to be very hard to keep an undefeated Mountain West champ out.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But it's also, Kurt Herbstreit made an interesting point yesterday. I was watching an interview with him.
Yeah.
Because you look in and you're going to say, all right, you're undefeated, you're up top. But he was also pointing out, at what point, if you don't play anybody, does that not matter? Because I look at a one-loss Oregon team, I'm like, a one-loss Oregon team versus even an 8-0 Michigan team at this point in time, Michigan hasn't played anybody.
Yeah, they're non-conference.
Like, they get Ohio State, and that one game decides their season. So, of course, why wouldn't you play cupcakes in your non-conference? The way the dice rolls, the Big Ten's not great this season, and be there. And that's why I'm looking forward to an expanded playoff, because there are deserving teams outside the top four that can win a national championship.
Oregon's non-conference schedule, they beat Portland State 81-7. All right, so everybody gets one. They played Texas Tech on the road, had to go down there and struggle to win. And then they beat Hawaii. Washington, who is undefeated, and beat Oregon in a great game. Played a non-conference schedule of Boise State, who you think is usually pretty good, Tulsa out of the American, and then they went on the road and played Michigan State. I mean, when you schedule that
game, you think it's going to be a lot better than
that's a good right. So they didn't shy away. Michigan, not only have they not really caught, they've caught a break in their league schedule, and look, their league's down. East Carolina's not horrible, but I mean, they beat East Carolina 33. They beat UNLV, who's 6-2, 35-7, and they beat Bowling Green. But they didn't play a power conference team. Then they got Rutgers, who might be the fourth best team in that league. Nebraska.
East Carolina's 1-7.
Is that what they are? Okay, I guess I didn't even realize that. Okay, then East Carolina's not good this year.
But that's also why they're the opener in your schedule.
Yeah, but typically they're a decent American team, American conference team. Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State. They get Purdue. They still have to get Penn State. So they dodged Wisconsin. I look at the Big Ten this year anyway and say, who is it you're dodging? I mean, Minnesota, I guess, they're the best team in the West. I mean, who'd you really dodge anyway? Yeah, the Big Ten's down. The Big Ten's down. Look, everybody's got it down here. The Big Ten's down. That's why now Ohio State, they're non-conference. They played Notre Dame. And remember, they got that last-second win. That may be one of the biggest plays of the year. When Notre Dame ran 10 players out on the field on defense. And honestly, when it's all said and done in the regular season, that last-second victory for Ohio State when Notre Dame had 10 players on the field. Because if Ohio State loses that game to Michigan, they're the one-loss team. And you're saying a one-loss Ohio State or a one-loss Pac-12 champ, who gets in? That might be the difference, right? That one play right there on that September evening in South Bend. Red Zone? Do the Red Zone when we get back. Get into the NFL. We got NFL tonight, boys and girls, right here on the Sports Animal. Your week starts. Tennessee, Pittsburgh. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Jr. Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. ProView Networks.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Footy tonight, right here on your home for the National Football League. 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, and DC. 'Tis your opening drive on a Thursday. You get the Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight, 6 o'clock. It'll be from Pennsylvania. Two teams trying to figure out if they're actually in this race or where they are as we hit the halfway point of the season. We like to do NFL stuff every day, put them together, give you some things to talk about. DC puts together something that we call In the Red Zone. And so, I don't know, let's go in the red zone.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Are you crazy?
I'm saying you're a football player.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna Tom Brady this game.
You're in the Red Zone with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Let's go, baby!
It's first and goal.
Well, as Jeff just said, Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight on Thursday Night Football, right here on Sports Animal. Will Levis is scheduled to get his second career start this evening on the road. Currently, Levis and Steelers starter Kenny Pickett both have 4 passing touchdowns on the season. So who would you take for the rest of this season, Pickett or Levis?
You know, common wisdom says you go with a guy who's done it for a bit, and it's Pickett. And give me a guy who's played a whole season and not a guy who's making his second start. I don't know why I like Will Levis as much as I do, but I really like Will Levis. And I feel like I've seen Kenny Pickett, and I think Kenny Pickett's going to be a Mitchell Trubisky kind of career guy, right? But he's fine. But I think honestly, that's kind of feels
so
like
the backup quarterback in Pittsburgh is who he is?
Kind of feels like the max.
So he is the backup?
Well, I mean, do you feel that he's any better than that? Because my answer is Levis.
Well, Levis is the right answer. Pittsburgh Steelers are bottom 10 passing offense. They're the 3rd worst in the yards per game this season. They're not scoring any points per game this season. They are 4th worst in that 16 points per game. I'll take my chances with finding out what the ceiling is for Will Levis.
Second and goal.
Ready, down, put.
All right, speaking of quarterbacks, the 4-4 Vikings are on the road this weekend in Atlanta to face the 4-4 Falcons. Both teams are currently in the playoff mix, but are dealing with significant issues at the quarterback position. The Falcons are starting their backup, Taylor Heineke, for the first time. Meanwhile, the Vikings are starting rookie Jaren Hall for the first time in his career. We know Minnesota made a move to get a quarterback at the deadline, so changes are likely. But who would you rather be for the remainder of the 2023 season, the Atlanta Falcons or Minnesota Vikings?
Look at your face. He's like, I don't want to be either one of them.
But
did you see his face? I don't want to be either of those
frozen,
fools.
just looking. Yeah. The schedules for both are favorable. However, I'm going to give the edge to the Atlanta Falcons because when I look at Minnesota, I think Dobbs can at least give that offense some life moving forward. And you have Addison and you have TJ Hawkinson, and if Justin Jefferson returns, but Minnesota, they get to go to Denver, and all of a sudden that game is a lot harder than it looked a couple weeks ago. They have the Lions twice on the back end of their schedule. I think for the Falcons, I trust them more in the game against the Saints, playing the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Bears, the Colts. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons.
So I really like the Vikings roster. To your point, there's weapons. and I think Joshua Dobbs is fine, but the answer is the Falcons because their path to the playoffs is a more navigationable. What's that word? What would the word be? Navigatable.
You can navigate it.
All right, path. Than the Vikings because the Vikings aren't winning that division. The Lions are winning that division. The Falcons are tied with the Saints and half game ahead of the Bucks, and nobody's pulling away. And Taylor Heineke's won games in this league. It's not like they're turning it over to, I don't know, Will Levis, who I picked in the last question. They're turning over to a guy, and again, who's probably in that same caliber, but a guy who has won games. Their path to get to the playoffs is a more clear path, and the answer is the Falcons.
3rd and goal.
All right, let's talk about the early game. The 6-2 Kansas City Chiefs host the 6-2 Miami Dolphins in Frankfurt, Germany this Sunday. The Chiefs are coming off an ugly loss against the Broncos where they did not score a touchdown for the first time in over 2 calendar years. That was 10-24-21 against the Titans where they lost 27-3. On the other hand, the Dolphins have not won against a, quote, playoff team so far this year with losses against the Bills and Eagles. So which team needs this win more, Kansas City or Miami?
Dolphins. Dolphins do because Kansas City's going to win their division. Kansas City loses this game, they're going to win their division. Who's pushing them? The Chargers? The Raiders? The Broncos? They're going to win their division. Now, if we're talking about getting the number 1 overall seed, they both need this win to get the number 1 overall seed. But just because the Chiefs are coming off a loss to the Broncos, it happens every year. There's a game where you lose, you shouldn't have lost. The Broncos, for whatever reason, have their number. The Dolphins, to your point, as you said in the preface, haven't beat anybody that is considered to be a good team. This is their opportunity. I think they're tired of hearing that, and they are in a much tighter race than Kansas City. The Dolphins need it more.
The Miami Dolphins need it more so they can say, look, we did it. You don't want to become the Dallas Cowboys, where you don't have those wins above teams over 500. And I can't wait to see this offensive matchup. Tyreek Hill is going to get his because he's that good regardless of who he's playing. And for Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is that dude, but he's going to have to make something out of nothing with some of these receivers. Like, they need it. Rashee Rice is stepping up, but they need some playmakers outside of Travis Kelce. Well, I think it's a big game for the Kansas City offense. Overall, the narrative is you're still going to trust Kansas City because Patrick Mahomes is there. Miami needs this to just be like, we can play with these teams.
We've agreed on everything, by the way. Do you know that? Yes. That's all right, because we're right.
4th and goal.
Did I stutter? Beer me.
All right, how about the NFC North? The 7-1 Philadelphia Eagles host NFC rival Dallas Cowboys this weekend at Lincoln Financial Field. Starting this week, the Eagles' next 6 games are all against playoff caliber teams, including the Cowboys twice. The Cowboys have an easier road over the next 6, but have a tough schedule in the final month of the season. So breaking down the upcoming schedules, who needs this game more?
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. The team that's trailing.
And to make a statement on the road against Philadelphia Eagles. The Cowboys, this is one of the things looking at the schedule I've talked about. They have opportunities because they see the Eagles twice. They're going to see the Lions in there so they can make some regular season statements. But it doesn't, you know what, DC? It doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. Whether or not they win a division, sure. But the Dallas Cowboys are going to be judged by the playoffs because they beat the Eagles last year. No one cared.
Yeah, nobody cared.
This team is all about, are you going to get it done in the postseason?
Yeah, it's the Cowboys because they're trailing. And because there's, like, nobody's got any questions about the Eagles. What's your question about the Eagles? Oh, they lost the game. Whatever. The questions about the Cowboys are, can they beat anybody? They lost to the Cardinals, they lost to the Niners, but what's the best win on their resume so far? They beat the Giants, the Jets, the Patriots, the Chargers, the Rams. Is the Chargers the best win? Rams aren't any good. Like, so who'd they beat? So no, the answer is the Cowboys. I mean, do you feel differently about it?
No, I think that is the right answer. But with the upcoming schedule for the Eagles, if they drop 3 of them, say half,
yeah, it's
a very different story.
Well, so sure.
That's why the schedule to me is so interesting because
the schedule's tougher. Well, they go Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners. That's Cowboys again. Seahawks. So their next 6 are real.
Very real. Very real.
I mean, we'll learn about them. But if you're looking at this game in a vacuum, and I know you asked the question, look at the schedule, so it wasn't in a vacuum. Who's it bigger for? It's the Cowboys. But how about that stretch? Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks. Welcome to reality.
I mean, you look at that, and let's just kind of say what if, but they're 7-1 right now. What if they go 1-5?
Okay,
they're suddenly
so then,
8-6. They split them with the Cowboys. That is such a different story.
And you think the Cowboys in that same period are just winning?
What if they go 5-1?
All right, so then they're 10-3. So then they flip the division. Yeah, then we're having a totally different conversation. Boy, so their next 5, they get Eagles, Giants, Panthers. So Eagles is tough. Giants and Panthers, they should win. And beat the Commandos. And then they get Seahawks, Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions. Look how they end. So theirs is coming. Would you rather end that way or have it now?
That's a great question. If I'm sitting there at 10-3.
No, right now. So right now, middle of the season, you are where you are. Would you rather have that brutal 5-game stretch now or the last 5? I want it now. I want to be able to end strong.
I just think getting ready for the playoffs, playing tougher teams, and knowing that the playoffs are the most important part, especially for Dallas, playing playoff teams at the end when you know you're in.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, that kind of gets them ready for that.
How do you feel? I mean, would you rather have like that?
I'm leaning towards it now.
Yeah.
Go through there, see what you're doing, because there's going to be so many moving pieces into the season. I'm not worried about it. If I've played those games, I've been through the NFL season, I'm not going to sit there and think, well, we played a softer team before the playoffs. We're not going to be ready. I just want to get there.
Yeah.
Get to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's funny. What does a soft team mean? And I always wonder, and this is always the end of a schedule in any sport, right? A team who's out of it. And the NFL
never assume. You're right.
I agree.
Never.
But the NFL's done a good job of keeping teams in it, right? But the Giants are going to be out of it. But those men are going to be playing for a job. The men who are on that 53-man roster are going to be playing for their futures. So it's always interesting at the end of the season how these things go. I'd rather play it now, but that's just me. All right, when we come back, what do you expect tonight? We'll get into Tennessee-Pittsburgh. Mitch Garver is a champion. The former Lobo, the former La Cueva star, is a champion. He had the game-winning RBI. A Porqueño, a boy from the Porque, had the game-winning RBI in the clinching game of the World Series. It's a big deal for that young man. It's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM. And AM 610, the sports animal, your home for Sunday night, and Monday night, and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Here at Clark's Pets, we understand your pets. We take meticulous time to find out more about them. Dig deep into their world to understand their needs. We do research for knowledge of each pet, so you can trust Clark's Pets to provide you the best products and service for your pets, because we work hard to understand all of their needs. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop.
I am Michael Ozera, midfielder for New Mexico United. Clark's support for the United is an example of their commitment to local partnerships. Clarks understands that paying it forward develops a better team and ultimately better community partner.
When you need pet food and supplies,
Clarks is always the best shot.
Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations.
Go United!
ClarksPets.com.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Sports Animal.
See who got the winning RBI in the game-clinching, series-clinching game of the World Series? La Cueva High, former Lobo, Mitch Garver. What a series for Garv. I got a text yesterday from somebody that said, keep your Breggy Bomb salsa. Garv sauce is better. Yeah, Garv sauce is spicy, man. He found a home, didn't he? There was some time when he left Minnesota and what you weren't sure about where he was going to be. He got hurt. Yeah, he was. He battled through the injury, and kind of a big deal, man. Kind of a big deal for him. And just a good dude, another good dude. That another local played a real big part in winning a world championship. It's kind of a big deal. I'm stoked for him. For those of you who missed the little, my little acronym, play this one today. It'll kind of freak people out a little bit. It did me, because I believe in the mystics of sports, the weird stuff that's in the stars. And stuff happens, right? Stuff you can't explain. The Rangers won every game they played on the road in the postseason. Every game. Were they 11-0? Is that the number, 11? Has that ever been done? Certainly not 11 of them. So the story of it is road. I mean, they won on the road. They couldn't win at home. ROAD. And they beat the Rays and the Orioles and the Astros and the Diamondbacks. Rays, R. Orioles, O. Astros, A. Diamondbacks, D. It's just weird, man. Just weird. I don't know if that means anything, but it's just kind of weird.
Far out, man.
Far out, man. All right, I got text coming in. Jeff and JJ, was it a mistake for the Dodgers to let Corey Seager go? It's from Ronnie. It kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah. I can't tell you how many times that same person texted me, you miss Corey Seager yet? Yeah. Yeah, I miss Corey Seager.
Corey Seager, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. What side do you want to be on?
So the one that wins. So I got something. Is this from Edward earlier? I got to find it again. Corey Seager, the fourth player with multiple World Series MVPs. And is this right? The first ever to win a World Series MVP in both leagues? One in each league, American League, National League? If that's right, that's pretty insane, dude.
Yeah.
If that's right, that's bonkers. So that's pretty good. This was on the Andrew Erickson conversation, the former Manzano star. He's a Lobo receiver. He was with us today. Mature, married, articulate, good player. Like Andrew Erickson was good. You should download that if you haven't heard it yet. Go take a listen over on sportsanimalabq.com. Click on the opening drive. I got a response to that. Good morning, OD. Appreciate what that young man had to say about the locker room and the team. But honestly, how much of a chance do you give them against UNLV on Saturday? I give him a puncher's chance. I mean, UNLV's good. What are the odds? Would it open up at 10? Did it move yet? Do you know? I'll find it for you. I mean, I think we all sit here. Who are you going to pick? And you're going to bet your mortgage on them. It's still at 10. Straight up winner money line. I mean, UNLV is going to be a tough out coming off that win the way they've been playing this year.
Yeah, UNLV. What stands out to me is when people say the way they look, because UNLV is taking advantage of their schedule. They've got a favorable schedule, but UNLV is just like New Mexico. I'm not going to complain about who you're beating until you take those steps and have consistency as a program. And in these games, though, they beat Vanderbilt. They put 40 on Vanderbilt.
An SEC team, but lower.
But still, when you look at what they did offensively, they had a stretch where they were 4 straight games, 40 or more
40,
points.
45, 44, and 45 against Vanderbilt, UTEP, Hawaii, and Nevada.
But that's taking care of your business.
Yeah, and they scored 44 in their opener.
That's taking a step forward. UNLV has been able to do that as a program. Yeah. And when you hear people talking about how good they look on film, that means they're a well-coached team. And is this going to be an incredibly difficult game? Absolutely. But you just hope that this team is still locked in and at least they play a game where they give themselves a chance. And it's not the mistakes. Is the first interception from Dylan Hopkins, he got pulled. The defensive lineman dropped back in coverage, didn't read it. Boom. Yeah. Second one was just straight up bad pass. And the third one, low contact sail on him. And one thing with Dylan Hopkins is he bounced right back. Because the question, and you're seeing it all over social media, and we talked about it at halftime, is do you put him back on that field in the second half? And they did.
And I think that was the right move, by the way.
And he responded. And
if you were going to bench him for the rest of the season, then if you were considering it, making a move to Devin Dampier for the rest of the year, then you bench him. If you believe that that young man is your guy to still get you where you and I think most of us still believe he's a good quarterback.
And they need him to be that guy this weekend where he's efficient. And sometimes it just happens, man. Like he played a bad half of football.
Sometimes you have a bad day at work, man. No, I agree with you. This is an interesting one. Remember, what was it the other day? When were we talking about head injuries? Was it last week? We were talking about injuries and head injuries and targeting and all that stuff and, where the head's got to go and the mentality of football. And I remember asking the question about vernacular, about the way we talk about it. Players all the time talk about it, and they say it because they've been coached this way. They want us to get there with bad humor, with bad intent, right? Defensive guys say that all the time. There's a note or a text on the text line. It says, remember I was telling you guys about the mentality of hurting people, ? I just heard the new interim coach for the Raiders say they are going to play with ill intent. He's talking about Antonio Pierce, the new interim head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. He says, I understand the game is violent and that people get hurt, but going out there with ill intent to hurt people is unsportsmanlike and bad for the game. And I would tell you that I believe. Now, I can see where you're on the other side of this. If you are a defensive player and you say, I'm going there with ill intent, I can see the difference between ill intent and I'm trying to hurt you.
I think that's overthinking it.
Well,
What
we're playing semantics, right?
You have to wrap your head around, I'm going to get hit hard. I have to hit someone hard to play this game. It doesn't mean that just because you're saying ill intent or physical, that you're trying to hurt someone. You're trying to survive on the football field.
Yeah, if you're not trying to hit someone else hard, they're trying to hit you.
And there's plenty of guys that play hard but aren't trying to hurt people.
Yeah,
and
I think it's the majority of them.
It's like
almost all of them. Yes.
Some dudes, they got a couple screws loose because they've been hit. It's the way that they brought up. It's going to happen. But you can't talk soft about this game and survive. And if the word ill intent upsets you,
or bad humor, or no, then probably tennis is your game, right? My mom hates football, man. She thinks that to her point, in her mind, it's just a bunch of guys out there trying to hurt each other.
Because there's hits, and we've talked this discussion all the time. You're lining someone up, you think it's clean, and you just destroy them because your bodies are moving fast. You're reaching for a football, you're going someone else, and it's just like, oof.
Yeah, you're world-class athletes moving at high rates of speed. You're incredibly strong. You're incredibly fast, and you're moving at rates. And by the way, your heads are still on your body, and they hit. Yeah, I would differentiate ill intent, or what was the word in there that it used? I think that's what it was, right? With ill intent, yeah. As I don't take that to mean I'm trying to hurt you. Well, then what does ill intent mean? Ill intent means I'm trying to do some damage and separate that person from the football.
Trying to survive on the football field.
Yeah. But it is a vernacular. And I wonder if at some point that gets legislated isn't the right word, but politically corrected out of the game. We got to go there with good humor. And we want to massage the ball away from that player. We're going to tickle him to the point where he can't hold it anymore. Where his arms flop. I mean, this is the game, man. It's a physical, brutal collision sport. Basketball is a contact sport, whether you want to believe that or not. Football is a collision sport. And I am all for, and I think you are too, and most people who play the game, are all for legislating it to the point where you make it as safe as you can, but there is no way that you are going to legislate or rules out the physicality and the inherent danger that comes with playing football. And I think everybody who straps on a helmet and walks on a field understands that. They accept it, they embrace it, and almost every one of them thrives in it. It's what they love. How many dudes? I love hitting. Not a lot of dudes say I love getting hit.
No.
Getting hit's not all that fun. People love the physical nature of that game. And that's why it's the number one sport by far. The NFL is in our country. By the way, you know what the number 2 sport is in our country after the NFL? Because people love football. You know what it is?
Pickleball.
College football. It is. The numbers, I mean, it's not even debatable. Pickleball.
No, that was a joke.
No, it's good. Pickleball surpassed bowling as a participation sport yet?
Probably. I mean, it's
bowling was a
popular.
crazy big number participation sport. You play pickleball?
Oh yeah, I pick.
Is it fun?
I love it.
Everybody tells me I'm going to love it when I play it.
It's so,
and I've got nothing against it. I just haven't had the opportunity. I just haven't played it.
I have bad knees, so I can't play tennis anymore. This is the perfect option. They've got courts down the street. Seems like all over town, actually.
What kind of ball is it?
It's like a wiffle ball.
It's like a wiffle ball.
Yeah. So you essentially
it kind of limits the speed of the ball.
Yes.
And they're wooden paddles, or like they're paddles.
They're paddles. It's think of a ping pong paddle times 2, basically.
Okay.
And it's sometimes wood. It's you can get high end materials.
Fiber material. Yeah.
But you can get a nice paddle for $50. So.
Who's the young lady we had in here? She was that world class pickleballer. She was a model, pickleball stud. She was fantastic. In fact, every time I go out to Canyon Club, Paul asks me about her. Hey, what was her? How's she doing? Because he was watching on the simulcast, and yeah, she happened to be beautiful too. And then he looked at her website. He's like, "Wow," he became enthralled. I'm like, "Easy." I know, but I do need to get him an update. But she was great, man. All right, 505-246-0610. You want to come in on this Thursday morning? Make your call on the game tonight. The Michigan thing with this sign stealing and all the mess that's going on, and it's uglier and uglier. Well, now Big Ten coaches outside of Jim Harbaugh are saying, "Hey, what are we doing about it?" What the Big Ten coaches want next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Evergard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Collectively, the coaches want the Big Ten to act right now. What are we waiting on? We know what happened, end quote. So the Big Ten scheduled a call with athletic directors for this afternoon. The NCAA has been investigating Michigan for nearly 2 weeks. Sign stealing. There's a gentleman named Connor Stallions. He's the centerpiece of the investigation. Purchased tickets to games of 12 of the 13 Big Ten opponents over the last 3 years. Purchased tickets to more than 35 games in at least 17 stadiums over the last 3 years. What should happen? If they take action, what do you think the action is? They're going to suspend Harbaugh for more games? We're talking about a team that is number 3 in the college football playoff poll, right? We're talking about a team that there's no way the Big Ten is going to suspend a team that can make them that much money. Correct? I think that's why this thing's dragging. The Big Ten's looking at it and go, damn, Michigan might be our meal ticket this year. The amount of money that would come to our league if they get into the college football playoff and win a national championship. Let me drag my feet for another 2 months. Oh, and then on January 15th, we found it, and we're putting them on probation.
Absolutely. If I'm the Big Ten, I'm letting the NCAA handle this. And the coaches are going to be upset across the board, interconference. I'm saying, hey, this is an NCAA rule. They're doing their investigations. They have their people on campus, and we'll go from there. But it's also one where some of these, the whole, everyone's doing it, you're looking for an edge. It's like simple things that you don't need to do, but you're doing it. And I'm just looking at Jim Harbaugh and going, what's the point of this?
Right.
Like, you are really good. It's so Houston Astros like. It's like you need to know what's coming because we see how good you are. Why would you do this to yourself?
All right. So I'm going to give you some words that were evidently used on this call. This is the coaches, the football coaches in the Big Ten with the commissioner. They tried to lay out to the commissioner how distinct of a schematic advantage that Michigan has held over the last 3 years by what they say illegally obtaining the opposition signals ahead of time. That's what's being alleged. So the coaches used words like tainted, fraudulent, unprecedented. Okay? According to sources, this call was coaches explaining to the commissioner how it worked, how it impacted them, these coaches, and their programs. Both in-person, opponent scouting, and using electronic equipment to steal signals are not allowed by NCAA rules. Look, it's in the rules. In-person scouting and using electronic equipment are not permitted per NCAA rules. This guy, Stallions, was suspended by Michigan. But in the 3 years that he left this paper trail of tickets, the Wolverines were 33-3 overall, 22-1 in Big Ten. Before that, they were 21-11 and 16-8 in league play. One source is quoted on the call as saying, quote, people don't understand the seriousness of it, how it truly impacted the game plan. To truly know if it's a run or a pass, people don't understand how much of an advantage that was for Michigan, end quote. Another coach, every game they played is tainted, end quote. Coaches are pissed. And I go back to, again, what is the proper discipline and I don't even want to say if. I mean, I don't know that we're at if anymore. This happened. And Michigan fan, you're going to say, well, they did it. They did. I don't know, man. You got caught. Quote, this is another source. I don't think the Big Ten understood how upset everyone was. The tenor of the call was asking the Big Ten to show leadership. The conference and the presidents, an unprecedented violation of the rules would require unprecedented action from the Big Ten, end quote. Again, unprecedented action. Are you going to vacate their victories? Are you going to take what could be your silver spoon this year?
Taking away victories would not be unprecedented, though, would it?
Well, that part would not be, but from a team that to do it before they enter the college football playoff. I mean, think of everything that's on the line here. If they beat Ohio State, this is your meal ticket this year. What is everything based on in college athletics, sports and life? Money, right? How much money is on the line for the Big Ten if Michigan runs the table and gets to the college football playoff?
I mean, that's huge money, obviously. I'm just wondering, like, what they're really asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What are they asking? They're asking for unprecedented action. I don't know what that means.
Are they saying maybe suspend them for a year?
Suspend him? Them?
The team. I mean, it feels to me that they're going above and beyond.
And that's why I'm saying I think the league wants to, well, let's let it play out. And then January 15th, after the playoffs done, all right, you know what? We found this, and Michigan's on probation, or they're vacating wins, or Jim Harbaugh suspended, whatever. And by the way, Harbaugh's going to say, I mean, what are the odds of him not being an NFL coach next year? No, honestly, with all this mess going down, Bears, Raiders, what are the odds of him not being an NFL coach? He's not going to stick around for this mess, is he? He made his money, and if he wins, he pieces out and says, later, you guys deal with this crap. So what do? You're the commissioner. You just sat on a call. You listen to all these irate coaches. You got a meeting with the athletic directors today.
I'd have to know, what has the conference done in the past? Have they ruled on situations like this before?
What would be similar to this?
Yeah, or has it been with infractions? You lean on the NCAA
and let them take their time and let it play out in that way.
Because when was I don't ever remember the last time a conference outside of field storming rules or something along those lines where you fine you because you can't have that on the court. When it comes to NCAA rule violations, a conference ruling on
what did you fear Michigan, right? People self-impose all the time. Arizona,
they did it to start the season.
Arizona State gave themselves a bowl ban, right?
Jim Harbaugh didn't coach to start the season.
Yeah, he had 3 games. He was suspended for 3 games to start the season. What was that for? I don't remember anymore.
I think it was recruiting violations. And,
it was something like that. And so would that make him a second-time offender too? Should that make the penalty harsher?
Because that's what Michigan was. Jim, you can sit out this. We don't need you against Bowling Green. We'll
Bowling Green, UNLV, right.
Everyone can pretend to be head coach. Be good.
Yeah, they went through 3 different dudes. I gotta believe that would make him a multiple offender in the NCAA's eyes, or whomever it is handing down discipline. Would that make it a more severe discipline? The answer is probably yes, right? In most cases. He's Jim freaking Harbaugh. Michigan's number 3 in the college football playoff rankings. This is complex, but if all these coaches are yelling and screaming, you've got to do something. And the league's just going, hey, man, it's going to cost us millions. And it very may well cost them millions. By the way, thank you to the text line. Cameron Blackwood was her name. The pickleball star. Thank you. That was Terry who found that for us. Thank you very much. This is, the text line says, like Barry Bonds doing steroids. He didn't need them at all. He's equating this to the Michigan thing. They didn't need to do this. Why'd they do it? Why? All right, 505-246-0610 if you want to get in. Wrap up everything you need to know as you go through your Thursday. And still have time for your correspondence. Emails Jeff@sportsanimallabq.com, JJ@sportsanimallabq.com. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night football.
Olivas going to the corner of the end zone. Nice grab there by Josh Jackson, and that's going to be a touchdown, El Dorado.
Their strong point, their focal point, and their...
Nelson will keep it himself for some room on the right side. Nelson's on his feet, and he is in. It's a touchdown for Noah Nelson.
Sliding, they slid out of going out there. Linebacker, they're going for the big gutter play. How did he hold on to that? Ethan Olguin. My goodness, a 32-yard bomb. He's going to launch this one long, and it's a little bit short, but what a pull down. Fabian Trujillo. Unbelievable, this man.
Dyer, back to pass. Pressure, gets out of it nicely. On the sideline, got an open man. It's Labrana. Cheeto made one miss. Cuts back up the middle. Another cut to the right, and he's all the way down at the 10-yard line.
Is that Sweet Pete Jr.?
Right?
That's Sweet Pete Jr. right
What
there.
a move there by Cheeto Labrera.
Second and 1, give it to Gallus. Once again, he evades one tackle, evades two. Breaking into the open, there's a block, bye-bye. And he breaks the last tackle to get through. Jack Gallus with the touchdown.
Happy with his defense so far. Vukovic, and that ball is ripped up. Bernalillo will have this ball at the 1-yard line.
That's the extra yards for Cheeto. Dyer quickly, it's batted into the air, and it is picked off. Rams football as Rio Rancho finally gets the turnover they need as it's tipped into the waiting arms of Vincente Tafoya. Ryan Brown had punched it into the air and allowed Tafoya to come away with it. Let's see if Nelson can make it pay.
Back.
No! LaCueva gets it back on another tip drill. It falls into the waiting arms of the senior Luke Ryder.
Kick is up. It will bounce into the arms of Daniel Garcia, and Garcia explodes through the middle. He dodges Castro, and Garcia will run that one back from about the 17-yard line. Call that one an 83-yard touchdown rush.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros.
Sports Animal, your home for football, Sunday night, Monday night, and tonight. We got that for you. What's everybody going to be talking about as we go through your day? Well, the Texas Rangers won the World Series. Mitch Garver, La Cueva High, former Lobo, had the game-winning RBI, the first RBI of the game. 5-0 Rangers won the game. 4-1 Rangers won the series. And a little note for you just to charm your friends with. They won every road game they played. 11-0 on the road in the postseason. Road Warriors. Road was the theme. And they beat the Rays, the Orioles, the Astros, and the Diamondbacks. Rays R, Orioles O, Astros A, Diamondbacks D, ROAD. See, things happen in this cosmic world, and that's a real deal. Antonio Pierce is the new head coach interimly of the Raiders. He has made a change at quarterback. It won't be Jim Garoppolo anymore. Aiden O'Connell will be his guy. And Lobos were winners last night. Basketball in the pit. 86-73. They beat New Mexico Highlands in their final exhibition. Jamal Mashburn Jr., 25 for UNM. Donovan Ned had 23. Open up the season. Doubleheader, men and women, both against Texas Southern, Monday in the pit. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and J. Buck along with DC. Marty, good morning. You're on The Sports Animal. Hello, Marty.
Hey, guys. I'm a Dodger diehard. In 2015, there was a kid named Corey Seager that I just fell in love with. Listen, fans, I know you guys love Ohtani and all that crap. To me, Corey Seager is the perfect baseball player. Perfect. The way he hits, the way he feels, the way he turns, everything he does, to me, is textbook. And when they didn't sign him 2 years ago, they decided too much money. We're going to go a little cheap. There you go, Dodgers. There you go. It's what you get. And after the Nationals, when they lost to the Nationals, I said, go get Bruce Bochy, the best manager in baseball. Did they listen? No. You're stuck with Dave Roberts. Go ahead. Get stuck with Dave Roberts. That's what you get. Really quick, guys, Lobo football. I said this past week was a must-win. Saturday is a must-win. So, I don't know. You can end up 3.
Week to week.
It is. You can end up 3-9, and then we sit here and say, is Danny the right coach? That's the question we're going to ask ourselves. So I really felt that the Nevada game was a must-win for Danny. But again, you turn it around, you upset UNLV, every week's a must-win. So that's what I've got, guys. Way to go, Rangers.
See you, Marty. Dave Roberts is so he's kind of the Peyton Manning of managers, like an unbelievable regular season manager, right? Mm-hmm. Now Peyton finally did win 2. Dave Roberts has won 1.
I need to turn it over.
I know.
To the Dodger contingent.
I know.
Because I don't know what that's like.
No, that's a first world problem to win 100 games every year and then lose in the playoffs. Yeah.
Is it Dave Roberts' fault? Like, what is he doing in the postseason that's not working versus what Bruce Bochy was able to do?
Well, he gave up 6 runs in the first third of an inning. It wasn't Clayton Kershaw, it was him. It's hard because he's got to wear it.
Yeah.
He's got to wear it.
Because you're asking, all right, this lost in an LCS, lost in an NLDS the past 2 seasons after a World Series title. So you ask yourself those questions, but that's the one I'm just looking at going, is it him not signing Corey Seager?
Well, that's not
like right. You put Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman in that lineup. Is Dave Roberts the problem that they had no pitching left at the end of the season?
Because everybody got hurt or domestic violence suspended. I mean, look, the Arias loss was huge.
Yes.
Like, I don't think people died.
Where was Walker Buehler?
Yeah.
Where was Dustin May?
Well, they were both on the IR. They didn't pitch all year. They had major injuries. You signed Trevor Bauer. He had his issue. So but
that's where I'm just like swinging a mitt. And Dave Roberts supposed to do what?
So think of what the Dodger staff would have been with Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, Dustin May, and Julio Urias. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Clayton Kershaw's your 5th guy? All of a sudden, right? But Urias allegedly beat his domestic partner. Trevor Bauer allegedly sexually assaulted this woman. And he's not in baseball anymore. Is he playing in China now?
He's playing in
Japan. Dustin May and Walker Buehler out for the year. Major injuries. And so their pitching was not
good.
You
get to the playoffs, and the number right now is 2. You got to have at least 2 dudes. You saw it with Nathan Eovaldi and Jordan Montgomery for the Rangers. So it was Zach Gallen, Martin Kelly for the Diamondbacks.
Now, Fott was pretty good, too.
Yeah, but they were the two guys
But
that
when they got
really
there,
set the tone.
Yeah, it's such a tough one. Dude wins 100 games a year, right?
And I understand you don't want to get complacent in support. You want to keep striving for things. But I just look at this Dodgers team. Did Dave Roberts, what did he do wrong if they lost in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Text line, we're talking about Jim Harbaugh. I don't think there's much of a question that Jim Harbaugh is going to, as Jeff said, peace out. Any one of us in his shoes would do the same thing. Oh, that's right. I ain't mad at him. I'm just saying you're going to put Michigan on some sort of probation or whatever the penalty is going to be, whatever the discipline is going to be that goes down on Michigan. And let's say you even put it on Harbaugh. Well, it's not going, any discipline that the NCAA or the Big Ten puts on Harbaugh is not going to extend to the NFL. The NFL, whether it's the Bears, the Raiders, whoever, is going to say, yeah, whatever, that's cute college football punishment. So it's never going to affect him, is it? And if they put Michigan on probation or discipline Michigan for whatever, is it going to affect Jim Harbaugh? That was all I'm saying to the email. No, you're right, man. Look, we would all do the same thing too. If you got the posse crawling up your backside and there's somebody else who wants to give you a $10 million, $12 million umbrella to say, come here, do this, you're safe. Yeah, hide me in that hut. Thanks to Andrew Erickson. He was with us today. Lobo receiver. Thank you to Jerry Palm from CBS Sports. Thank you to Adrian because the show looks so dang good on the visual medium. Keep it going, and thank you for doing it. Thank you to DC because the show sounds so good for what you're doing. Look at all your research. He found out that Jerry Palm was in the band at Purdue when Bobby Knight threw the chair. Huh? I mean, I know where you found it out, but good research. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On comes your way at 4. You get Titans and Steelers. Thursday Night Football here on the Sports Animal. We're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio at 7 a.m. Big day for you?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We will smell you tomorrow.